From the top.
PhD! We're the only bitches with a PhD in this room? Unbelievable.
No background music?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for the classic.
Is it beneath the mask?
Obviously.
My point is proven!
Rainy mood version.
My point is proven.
Alright. Hang on. Let me put this back on just for full effect. Alright. Who's ready to learn?
I'm ready to
my area of expertise. Now, today I will be defending Goro Akechi from Persona 5. This fucking guy. You all already know who he is.
Yeah.
Everyone say hi, Goro.
Hi, Goro.
Alright, you know him, you love him. In the interest of giving you a complete picture of this, I'm going to give you a quick refresher on what's up with him. So, our good friend Goro is the second coming of the teen prince detective in Tokyo. He is the big figurehead in the media assigned to our heroes, the Phantom Police. Except he's not that. He's a little traitorous snake working for his shitty politician father and is the one causing the mental shutdowns. So, I have divided my presentation thusly in the interest of keeping this concise and to the point into 3 sections. First, I will be going over, let's just say like the baseline of where we're starting here. You know, like a complete picture of where he's at mentally that will then inform his actions going forward. So, first of all, let's talk about mental illness. He's probably mentally ill. Now, he wasn't written with a specific diagnosis in mind, but many of his personality traits, his black and white thinking, his need for approval, his difficulty regulating emotions, his issues regarding self-image, and his empathy problems, all of these things are associated with cluster B personality disorders, for instance, which would be very in line with his history of abuse and neglect and all that. You know, your borderlines or histrionics or narcissists, so to speak, stuff like that. But even with that he is also frequently shown to not hold his life in very high regard. So that also lends credence to the idea that he needs some sort of therapeutic help at the minimum. Now, on the same part is number 2 of 3 of the baselines, which is that he is a Gemini! Hey! Hey! I'm gonna pick the fight with 2 Geminis.
Okay, but what's his moon and rising?
I was actually gonna look that up after I saw that. I didn't think to do that.
How dare you?
He was born in 96 though, so we can calculate it.
Okay.
This is self-explanatory. I don't think I need to go this any further. And third of all, he is gay!
We have the same brain cell.
What was any of this about? Now, this is more shorthand for the fact that one of the biggest things that informs his character throughout the game is his very, very, very bizarre relationship with the protagonist. It's a lot, and it's very open to interpretation. I think it's gay though, but his relationship with Akira very much exacerbates his problem, so to speak. Because for once, he has this person in his life who he thinks he understands, and he has this connection to, who he simultaneously resents and is forced against because of situations, and stuff like that. So, this was not doing his mental health any favors. Now,
What's his exact birthday?
what?
What's his exact birthday?
It's June 2nd, 96,
Thank you.
presumably.
Do
All right.
speculations.
So, I'm just going to go over in a chronological list the crimes he is accused of.
Are you sure?
Yes, we're just going to go over everything he does prior to the game and through the end. Also, for the record, I'm not spoiling anything about Royal, although a lot of my characterization is informed by things because there's a lot in Royal that was like implied in the original and that made more explicit because they actually bothered to do that this time around. We don't live in Plato's cave anymore. We have the full Goro experience. Now, let's say hypothetically that you are 14 and depressed and horribly alone and God speaks to you in your dreams and is like, here are these powers that will just wreck the mental states of the people around you.
He's a Sagittarius.
Go crazy. Nice. I don't know what that means. So,
Sounds right.
this child with no support system whatsoever, is now just set free into the world with his evil, chaotic mind powers born of his hatred and anger for the world that has wronged him. So he's like, I'm gonna get revenge on my father. So he ends up entangled with the darkest part of the criminal underworld, full of very powerful individuals who could have him killed at any moment, and then he is stuck there. Look at this fucking baby! Look at it! Look at this baby!
House looking motherfucker.
Don't you fucking say that to me!
Is that Zach or Cody?
I don't know. For reference, here's a picture of me at 15 for scale. Let's all think back to when we were 15. Could you have handled being in this situation?
Yeah,
I don't think I
no.
could. When I was 15,
I'm
I
no
was
different.
writing Doctor Who fanfiction in my geometry notebook in between classes.
That's a you problem.
I'm different.
You were not built different. I know you. None of you will fucking know
I was
different.
writing homesite fanfiction.
Exactly. You could not have handled being suddenly just trip, step right into the criminal underworld and then you're stuck there. You can't get out because if you try to leave, you will be killed. So, this is the worst man alive. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Everyone boo him. So, this is the guy who likes
Why do you keep dropping it at you?
So, this is the guy responsible for every single thing about to transpire. And I just want to keep that in your mind. Because, first of all, he has power, he has influence, he has connections, he has money, and also he is his fucking father. So, it seems to be kind of missing the point of the narrative to act like he really had his agency going forward when he had, had this man basically gripping him by the fucking neck, and who would have definitely offed him if he had refused at any point in this juncture. He kind of had committed to the bit, and then he had to go through. So, he starts killing people for him. It happens. Let's go one by one. Alright, so this one was kind of a dick move. But, yeah? But, because she was really the only major victim that hadn't really done anything wrong. She was just researching the wrong thing at the wrong time. But let's also remember that he was 15 in operating orders from his dad, and also...
He was like 12 or something.
Yeah? He wasn't responsible for
He
it.
didn't know who
He didn't fucking know. He didn't know any of this shit. He didn't know what the consequences would be. And this was also the first time a mental shutdown even happened, so it was kind of an experimental shot in the fucking dark. We don't really know what happened. He fucked with her brain, she fell into the street and got hit by a car. We live and we fucking learn. And also, just for the record, the further traumatization of her daughter had nothing to do with him. He was just minding his fucking business. It was his shit dad causing all these problems that would then fuck with her. Secondly, this guy had it coming!
Yeah, he had it fucking
This guy had it fucking coming! So it doesn't matter. Does anyone really fucking care that Kunikaze Okumura is dead? I don't think you do. This guy was exploiting his workers. This guy was having his political and business partners murdered.
Kill him though.
She did deserve to kill him, but also, it wasn't that fucking personal. This was just business. He had no fucking vendetta against her. It had nothing to do with her. Her own personal feelings on this were not his responsibility. So, thank you, Comrade Goro. This guy was basically the Jeff Bezos of hamburgers or whatever, but he was even more evil because he was having people assassinated. So, that's what you get. Other victims accused these fucking guys. Look me in the eyes and tell me you give a shit. Look me in the eyes and tell me that any of this fucking matters. He had it coming. He had it coming. This guy didn't even die for real, but he was a cop anyways. Who cares? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. They had it fucking coming.
Sometimes Goro Akechi just kills you.
Sometimes, listen, they knew what they were doing. They got involved with Shido. They were like having people manipulated and paid off and assassinated for their own little games. So like, who gives a shit? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Now, this whole situation. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. A big thing, more around the advertising around 5 rather than Royal, where they kind of realized that they had a little misfired with him, is that they really played up the traitor angle. But we've all played Persona 5. Did it really feel that important? And no. I think all was fucking fair there. He was barely pretending to fuck with him. They didn't trust him in the first place. There was no real fucking hearts being ripped out here. I think it was fair game. I think it was fair game. Who cares? He was basically blackmailing them anyway, so like, why would they trust him? So, which leads us into the final point, and his final attempted victim, Akira Kurosawa, or whatever the fuck. Now, it is made more explicitly canon, he didn't want to kill him, so John looked at him. It was the logical conclusion of a sunk cost fallacy. He had really dug a hole for himself, and his choice was either to essentially make all he had done meaningless, or just commit to the bid. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Was he happy about it? No! And furthermore, the relationship these two had was just simply too complicated to really be watered down into being referred to as one of his faults. I don't think it's a crime to experience emotion for the first time at age 18. Don't you support gay rights? Don't you support gay rights? You gonna fucking tell me he was in the wrong here? You some kind of homophobe? I don't think so. Sometimes shit happens. High school was rough for all of us. Which leads me into my third and final point, where I analyze the themes raised thus far.
That's lesbian shit, bro.
That's lesbian shit. Now, leading in from his final victim, the attempted murder by Akira Kurusu, let's just remember one key thing. That he is the #1 Goro apologist in this entire fucking cast. And I hate that I cannot fully explain this without spoiling everything about the third semester.
Not make a Spotify playlist?
But I have a Spotify playlist. I have a fucking Akechi playlist. Who do you think I am?
Touche.
If I only could, I would make a deal with God and get him to swap our places. No, and he tried it. He really tried it. I can't fucking elaborate further. You're just gonna have to trust me when I say Akira, the embodiment of what Persona 5 is supposed to stand for, the hypothetical, perfect blank slate protagonist that is supposed to carry the heart of the entire story, breaks his silent protagonist status to just let you know he fucking loves this guy. He cares about him so much. Every other relationship in it is technically up to the player, depending on how you do your little social links. Any of the romances, no matter how hard they fucking push them, your Kasumis, your Makotos, your aunts, technically, those are all up to the player. Those don't have a canonical depth to their relationship. But this one is unavoidable. This is the one fucking character that he just fucking cares about immensely. So, let's keep that in mind. As we all know, I am thou art I, we are all Akira in this moment. Woo! Now let's talk about society. Society. And the themes of Persona 5 as a game, which I think inform how an intellectual would view this character. Now, if this game is about, you know, the young victims of society, the downtrodden, the abused, what the fuck ever, it only stands that a strongest narrative in this sense would then highlight how far your empathy can go. He is not a good victim, but that makes him the most interesting. And let's not get it twisted. He is a victim, and he deserves your empathy. So keep that in mind. Yes, he's a bitch, but who fucking cares? Pick up a psychology textbook and you'll see why. It's fine. Now, let's also talk about agency, because that is another central theme of Persona 5 that is only exemplified further in Royal. And you're just going to have to trust me when I say these things, because that game melts my brain and is why I'm here like this now. So, whether or not he chose to do any of the things he do doesn't necessarily negate the fact that it was the only choice he had after a very short point. You know, like when your choices are embracing the role you've ended up having, or death, you can't really blame a teenager for choosing that. He is so full of repressed rage, and he has to fucking vent it somewhere. He had no support system, he had no one to fucking help him. So, you know, that's a whole thing. Now, he needs a support system so fucking bad. None of this would have happened if he had anyone in his life, which in fact is kind of the point of this whole massive dramatic breakdown that we all know him for. You know, teammates, friends, to hell with that. The whole fucking ordeal. That thing.
Bless your heart.
All that shit
His heart.
was basically him realizing that he finally, for once, had a hand he could reach to pull him out of the situation in Akira and the Phantom Thieves, but it came way too late, and people were already dead, and no one was gonna fucking forgive him for his actions. Because, let's not get it twisted, when he says he thinks he and the Phantom Thieves are just as bad, he does not think that he is righteous, but that he is irredeemable. He does not fucking value himself. All that shit. So, let's get him some therapy. Here's my petition to get him some therapy.
But who?
My GoFundMe, if you will.
I don't have any money.
We're gonna get there. Now, this brings me to my last and final comment on the themes, which is that he's good. And I like him. Yes, he's killed people. Yes, I think we should let him kill more. I think it's funny when the gay detective gets mean. I think his worst qualities are also his best ones, so who fucking gives a shit? All of his actions were justified, and all of his bitchiness just adds to his charm. So really, what's the problem? He causes problems on purpose, but that's just because God told him to.
I'll press like.
Smash that motherfucking like button if you a Goro boy. In conclusion, this is the best anime character of all time. I will now be open to the Q&A.
Why do you like this?
You know.
Goro.
Yes.
Yeah, what about Mark? Is he good for our therapy?
He tries.
He does?
He tries his
I
best.
genuinely don't know if they have interactions in Royal. Interesting.
He tries his best.
Okay, alright. Alright.
Yeah. Yes.
Is he built different?
He is simply built different. As is Akira. They're built different together in the same way. Yes.
Gorb.
Gorb. Did you get my Gorb?
Gorb.
Is it just because you're a lesbian?
No. But it helps. Lesbians love this guy. As should everyone, because he's the fucking best. Any other questions?
What's
Yes.
his rising sign?
Sarah loves
We don't
rising
know this time. We don't have
I
time
have
to
a
work.
comment.
Yes.
I like him.
Yes.
Would you and Kano be friends? Based off what you know about Kano?
They're like a slumber. It wouldn't be. They wouldn't get along immediately.
I feel like
but
Kano
think in
would make
time
his
they
life
could
worse.
understand each other.
Okay.
I think Kana would make his life worse.
Yeah. I mean,
Good
it's hard
for him.
to be fair. It's kind of hard to make his life worse. He's kind of already at rock bottom. But
They're
like,
both built
if you want to pull out a shovel and start digging, more power to you. Go
Amazing.
on. Don't use the word gay rights.
Woo.